Hello, hello. Good morning, world. Hello, world. Good morning, Ronja. I see you're also up already. How you doing? How was your weekend? How how's the project? your your handcraft going? Soon. Yeah, Sam. Let's let's all take it slow today. I've been busy yesterday evening preparing some more things for the PGDA, but actually I should be doing. I still have this month left to do like some game design work on Panta Rhei, and after that we should really go into production. So I have like a week, a bit more than a week left to figure things out to make this meta game progression work. So yeah, probably not doing a lot of coding today, more like silent thinking and figuring out if any of this makes sense. 'Cause yeah, game design is hard. Game design is hard. Never told me about this in school. Reading for your expensive Etsy order. Etsy is a great place, but a dangerous place. I can do a plug here. I haven't gotten the time for it yet, but I can show you something. Here they are. I was thinking of opening an Etsy shop as well. That's absolutely not Reignite or Panta Rhei related. But my aunt in Thailand, she creates like these handbags, and they're really nice. And I've got a lot of them actually now. And I was thinking about selling those on Etsy when I actually have time to do like proper photos and stuff. But aren't they cute? I think they're really cute. And they all have like a zipper as well. They're really well made. Um, I mean, I guess if we put a Reguide logo on them, we can sell them as company merch as well. But yeah, that is like kinda cause my aunt from Thailand, she's making them. And I was thinking about helping her out with like an online presence or a store or something. But time, it's hard finding enough time for things like that. Okay, now I'll give you a quick rundown of what I'm thinking about now. I have this weird workflow sometimes where I start working on the whiteboard, or like not the whiteboard, the flip charts actually. And then at some point I get tired of standing, and then I change to the PC, but I have to take photos, so I don't have to cross the whole room to look at it and have it ready here. Oh, sucks Socks are always an important decision. I'm always trying to match the socks with my shirt. I mean, you can't really see them, but it just feels right to match them. But rainbow bunnies are always a perfect choice. So, the good thing about my handwriting is you don't need to worry about anyone stealing your ideas, because not even me, not even I can read it. Um, so yeah, um, I was thinking a lot actually. It is not for the better. We do have this kind of interesting, like we're a bit of a little bit in a, how do you say, conundrum now. Because we are going for this whole, a few problems here. We are going for this whole interesting gardening side thing to create your, or craft, or harvest your temporary powers, the powers you use during the run. Which is great. That kind of works, and it has some interesting decisions in there, but it's not really there yet where it's fully integrated into the whole meta design and it makes sense. It's still a weird little thing. But we've kind of committed to, because in the beginning there are like two choices. We can do like the safe route and just do it like Hades or something with get a seed, you receive a power, and that's it. No gardening at all. But we kind of decided to not do that, but go with the weird route to do this whole gardening side thing. But that means we actually have to go like the full way all in. Because the worst thing that can happen now is we have this weird interesting side mechanic, but we don't fully develop or integrate it. And then it's just a weird thing that no one wants to interact with, which is kind of there, but doesn't really work. And then it's just the worst of both worlds, kind of. So we have to dig deep and really make this work. Yeah, problem one. um, Problem two, starting, like the danger is really imminent that this whole thing gets too complex. Actually, that goes together with problem three. Problem three is that we haven't at all ever marketed this game and probably won't market this game as something that has like a gardening part. And now my fear is that either we commit too hard into it and then people are off put by having to do a gardening thing in their adventure roguelite game when really they just want to play with the time manipulation mechanics and go into combat and do the exploration stuff, but don't really care about the whole gardening aspect. So yeah, and problem two kinda is this whole thing becoming too complex and too involved. So ideally, we have like a golden path where there's like a bit of gardening, because it still fits the theme, the whole Garden of Past and Fee being a guardian, that all fits together to have a golden path where you can choose to interact with it at a minimal level to just get your powers out of it and be done with it, but also have the possibility to go into depth, like to really commit on the whole gardening bit and get the most out of it. That would be the ideal target experience. And now we have to figure out how to get there. That's actually only one flip chart I didn't photograph. My target gameplay experience. So yeah, that's the three core problems I've identified yesterday. Now, actually I do need this though, because yeah. Let me take a quick photo. And now the two levers we can pull basically are, on the one hand, this specific gardening aspect where you plant the crops and get your powers out of it, which is probably the most important thing. And the second lever is the whole meta progression, resource management outside of it. That's kind of what I have here. So we have a bunch of, we need a bunch of different resources, or like a minimal. We need like at least 3 or 4 different resources to get like a proper resource loop in there with like transactions. With different needs and different use cases for the transaction, so you can kind of choose. But it's all just floating around in the ether right now, and isn't connected to anything. And so yeah, we're very much still in an explorative phase with this. But the goal for today is to just that I'm playing Final Fantasy. Well, that's not true. I thought I updated it. Oh wait, you're true. You are absolutely right. Didn't take my changes then. Okay, I think it should be updated now, but thanks for mentioning it. I mean, I kinda wish I was. But we have our own game to develop here. But what I will be playing at some point is, I just got Horizon Zero Dawn, the PC version, because it was on sale. And I've kind of been waiting for this game since it came out. So yes, the goal for today is to explore all the possibilities we have with the current meta setup and the temporary progression. And then ideally at the end of it, get a definitive scenario. Like we just do a bunch of educated guesses and decisions. So we can start prototyping this thing like tomorrow and have some, at least 1 or 2 testable versions ready by actually next week, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, that's my plan. But I don't really have a concrete idea on how to execute it. Actually, I do. Never mind. Because we have a bunch of like ideas noted down here of things, or that's what I did yesterday basically. Thinking about ways we can improve on or we can change the whole gardening, power gardening setup. And I've identified like 3 3 core changes to the thing, or like on the harvesting part. Because right now, that's the one change I want to do. Or we can put that into the decision as well. Yeah, I've made, that's the first thing I did here is add a decision section so I can see all the things we have fixated for at least this scenario or like the first prototype. So we can have like a common basis of feature decisions on which we can build the others. So the first one is, it's a bit hard to explain because there are a lot of different things coming together here. But the first one is that every seed equals one plant, meaning the seeds you collect during a run, they already have like a specific purpose. They have like a power or a modifier attached, and every seed kinda matters. It's not like you collect a whole bunch of seeds and then combine them somewhere. It's like every seed has its purpose. Every seed matters. Which also means we have to control the amount of seeds, so it's gotta be a low number. It's like basically, generally speaking, they're like two different kinds of resources. Like low number resources and high number resources. When you have things like coins that don't have like anything else attached to them, you can give out like high numbers of it, like 100 coins or 1000 coins or something like that, which is a different gaming experience because you have a different approach to this kind of resource. On the other hand, the seeds, they are supposed to be more like items. Like every seed has a specific effect, and you can still use them as a resource to buy stuff and things, but you're not dealing with hundreds of them, but like more like 5 to 10. Not sure if that makes sense though. What do I want first? Harvesting. That's also where it gets a bit complicated. Because right now the whole gardening prototype is you have this crop and you put plants in there and they influence each other. But immediately when you plant them, you receive the upgrade. So this field kind of represents your current loadout build. Which works fine, but the problem is your field gets crowded very fast. So you put like 4 plants in there. Like at the beginning, it's a 2x2, and then it's full, and you're kind of stuck with it. And the only decision going forward is removing plants, which could also be an option, but we're not going there. So the new idea or the new direction is, okay, maybe we need to rethink this as well though, because with adding a harvesting cycle as well gives us more options. Gives us the option to have like plants actually grow and upgrade, and the decision is when to harvest plants. Because now with the new direction, the idea is you plant those, and you kind of have to wait until they grow, and then at some point the decision is to harvest the plants and then receive the respective upgrade when harvesting. So like literally a farming game. Are we building a farming game now? Yeah. But let's go a bit crazy with this, at least in the brainstorming phase, and then tone it down, I guess, in the end or later. So we have this harvesting step, and the core decision here would be to, like, do I harvest this field now and receive the power and have it for the run? Or do I leave it on the field so it can become even more potent and then harvest it later, with the drawback of me potentially dying in between? because I didn't get the power upgrade. So my power level is too low for the encounters, and I will be struggling. So I'm exchanging safety for potentially more power in the future. But it adds another step. So we're going away from the golden path of being able to not deal with the gardening aspect a lot. Hey. So yeah, and with this whole harvesting approach, I've identified like 2 or actually 3 approaches to it. Like one of them, the easiest is that you can just harvest the whole field. So you choose to harvest and you receive the whole field and you receive the upgrades like they are, like it's implemented right now with the current field. And all of the plants are removed from the plot and you can kind of start new. That would be the easiest to implement at least. So we could do a prototype in this direction. Anyways, maybe. The second one, which I think is more interesting, is that you're not harvesting, and it kind of makes more sense as well, that you're not harvesting the whole crop, but you kind of choose which plant to harvest, which gives us more control. Oh, it's a more dynamic interaction then, because you're not thinking about the whole plot. You can like granularly interact with each plant and like have a status or rank or an upgrade health for each plant, which might make it become even more complex, but we'll see, I guess. The problem here is though it's unclear how the interaction with the plants works. What I'm thinking is the interesting thing with this whole setup isn't necessarily this placement puzzle. The interesting thing is the decision which powers I want to combine with which modifiers. And for this we technically do not need a placement puzzle. It's just kind of how we solved this right now. We could also have a system in place where you just grow, where you have like 4 spaces or something and you can grow plants separately, and then when you harvest them you can combine them, which would add another layer though, because then I'm having like a plant and I harvest it, I get some kind of fertilizer out of it and I can put it on another plant to like give it the property. I hope your Etsy package is there. The post office. Okay, but that might be an interesting approach, because oh, okay, I see. Well, that's a less fun trip to the post office. But still, it's a nice day to go outside, I think. It's not a blue skies and not a cloud inside, at least from my window. Okay, this also kinda plays into one of our target goals. Because with targets, I've identified like 4 target goals, so my core pillars, if you want to call them that. Target experiences. One of those is that you kind of want to tend to multiple crops in each area. So it shouldn't be focused on one location, but rather having like really this feeling of running through your garden between crops and tending to them and harvesting stuff and get this like basically this farming loop as part of each run. There should be long-term investment, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about now, that you can combine plants to create more sophisticated effects by combining them, and kind of investing or like keeping those crops alive in the long run. So you're kind of planting specific plants at certain crops to get effects, really, that you then want to use in future runs. And this also plays into the target goal of giving the player control over the crops they want to build. But not at all with the last pillar of still having a straightforward route if you don't want to deal with the whole gardening approach. You know what? Let's take a few of those. Let's do like a scenario. Not really a scenario, but a paper prototype. And if you want to, or should we take the reader ones from those? Okay, paper prototype. Do I have the map somewhere? Let's go through this like slowly. We do have we have a map. Just like the estuary, the beginning. I'll put it here. Then we have a bunch of farming location. We have Fee's Garden, not Peace Garden. Fee Shed. We have the greenhouse. Sanctuary. Then the gate. Then we have the wilderness with a bunch of locations. Oh, there's also a graveyard in the long run. We have like 5 locations and another gate. And then we are coming to the lakeside view. I think the ravines. And we're getting progressively less. And I think the goal here is to have like most of the gardening happening in the actual garden. and then progressively less. But maybe with the option to... We still need to decide what is permanent and what you keep and what you lose, basically. Because there will be, if we're going this route, there will be some kind of inventory management happening as well. And then it's more about collecting seeds from the later locations. And bringing them back to the garden to incorporate in your gardening experiments. Yeah. But let's keep it like that. And then there's Clockwork City, but why not? Okay, let's do that as well. Okay, then we need a sticker. Do I have like one? It's a bit boring. Finger. Fire. Oh, let's go with the pond. And so we have places with crops. All right. Now, okay, we have a few elements happening here. Let's follow this thought experiment. The pawn represents phi, like in our paper prototype setup. We need two things basically. We need something. Let's do the normal yellow. We need a gardening plot. Or multiple. We could have multiple. And kinda. I kind of want to combine the getting seeds, planting, and harvesting loop into like one thing. I'm not sure yet how to achieve that. Ideally, that's more like, let's do an idea part somewhere as well. Ideas, crazy ideas. Because ideally, procedural plans. mean, we won't be able, maybe we will, I don't know. From an art perspective, that's probably not the smartest idea. Um, but to actually already have plants in the wild with specific properties that I can collect for the seeds. They can be procedurally generated, so we can like combine certain we can kind of just mesh together certain modifiers and powers, create like plants, and either that's the question if they are just scattered around the locations for you to collect, or if we have like specific places for them. But the idea is to get those seeds very naturally throughout the locations, and then can kind of do a loop of harvesting plants to get more seeds to plant new plants of a similar type. And kind of combining them. Well, it all seems a bit odd. So maybe this won't be going anywhere. Well, let's say this is a gardening plot. Let's just pretend for a moment. And what you can do there is plant seeds, upgrade plants, whatever that means. Let's not get any more specific than that as of yet. Use a different. And then we have a shop. And the shop, I mean, makes sense to have it connected directly to the whole gardening process. So you can buy seeds, sell seeds, crops. The question is if we have crops as well. There's a difference between what I'm harvesting from a plant and the seeds. If we combine that into one resource, which probably would be smart. Maybe we can also buy time there. Okay. Okay, okay. So kind of what we're doing here isn't really following a strict plan. It's more like brainstorming, and it helps putting everything into perspective, like running through a whole, especially for the meta game, running through the decisions the player would go through with and trying out different approaches to things. Just writing it down to have something to hold on to. Um, it's kind of the prototyping mindset. You need to get it out of your head and onto paper as fast as possible, and then ideally into a playable prototype as fast as possible. So you can. Only real way to validate is to have people play it, like get as close to the target, to the real decision making as possible. In our case, I think a paper prototype like this is 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 good. Is good. Um, because it also, when running through it, it throws a lot of questions at you. Because you can only go through the whole process if you answer all of the questions. So right now, I'm thinking, okay, with these gardening plots, and at the moment we have like one in a specific location, the power garden location. But maybe, and that's what I kind of want to do, is having multiple of those scattered around the world. So I have like, we have to figure out a distribution that works. And just to get a feeling for it, how that could look like. And have like more of them in the garden and then less of those later on. So if we are going with 6 here, maybe we can use the old distribution from the temp powers, because it's still kind of doing a similar thing. Okay, crazy idea. Oh, we have a part for that. We have a space for that. Crazy ideas. Um, Fixated amount of seeds, meaning that all seeds are persistent, kind of, really. So you have a set. Hmm, you have a fixated amount of seeds that you can find, and then it's kind of your decision how you want to combine them into plants. And you have to tend to them and grow them. But if you harvesting a plant basically just yields you with the crops the fruits, and you can use them for power upgrades. Basically like consumables. Either they give you power that's either they give you like an immediate effect, like time and stuff, or you use them as a consume or like they grant you an upgrade. based on the seeds you put into there. But if you remove the plant completely, you get the exact same amount of seeds um, out of it again and can do something else with it. Mm. Why would we do that? You know, and I'm thinking the straightforward golden path we can achieve by at all of these. We can have either procedurally generated or handcrafted plants already there. And you can just not bother with getting rid. You can decide to not bother like getting the seeds out of them and redistributing and planting new crops. There should be a few like open spaces where you can experiment with that, but you could also just leave them as they are and just harvest them and directly get the bonuses from the plants and then move on. So I'm kinda liking that. I'm kinda liking that. Mhm. Okay. You can just so imagining this. Hmm. Okay, now the next question. Let's entertain that thought for a bit longer. Um, so most of these plots already have plants. We can have them be random. Oh boy, oh boy. You know, for everyone who see Dune, I do feel a bit like Paul Muad'Dib with his visions of the future. Okay, it doesn't come across that well in the movies, but in the books it's like him seeing all the possible futures and trying to figure out what decision to make to achieve a certain future or not. It's a bit like what we are doing here now. Because we're seeing all these possible outcomes of target decisions we want to have in a meta game. But we have like a lot of small decisions to make here. And we're kind of trying to look into the future. If we do plant upgrades like this, if they're distributed like this, if seeds have this kind of role, what is that gonna do to the whole vision, to the whole meta progression in the long run? And that's really intense on my brain. Because looking into the future, one possibility I see, or one is, or like two things, like with the plants that are like later in the game. So first of all, they can be like really good crops, really good harvest, good seeds. And one possibility is you want to get there and then tend to this plant, like spend you kind of investing runs to get this far and then put stuff into this plant to get there as often as possible to improve it, upgrade it, so you get better yield and eventually can like go through the boss fight and progress through the game. So just finding like this special plants somewhere in the later game and then continuously visiting them to improve them. Yeah, one possibility. The other one, they might be might go together or not. It depends. Other thing is you could go there and like just take the seeds, remove the plant, and then go back to the garden, or back to the estuary, starting into the garden, and plant it somewhere here to have it like earlier on, and it's easier to tend to it and grow it. Which could also be like an interesting loop to have this expeditions to the Lakeside Beyond Clockwork City, but then your goal is more to collect seeds there so you can plant them in the garden and maybe rotate your crops, because then you have better seeds from there and you can plant them here and then plant something else in the Lakeside View. Does that make sense? I feel like it makes sense. It kinda makes sense, but I'm not sure how to achieve this yet. Okay. I'll be back after a quick bio break. I also need to get something to drink. Hello, I'm back. I had a thought. Sorry. I had a thought. So when we play this through, first time you enter, how are we introducing this whole thing? Probably at the beginning with just without the gardening part, with just the harvesting part. Because that's the most straightforward thing to do, really. You enter the run, you find a plant, you harvest it, you receive some powers. And they're not too exciting, these plants. They just give you like a small upgrade or something. Question here now is, maybe let's collect questions as well. The question now is how modifiers? How modifiers? How modifiers? Yeah. Because are they already included in those plants? Do some of those have? And are the plants randomly generated? That's the question. Okay, because every time I get to a plant, I receive an upgrade, a modifier. Maybe there's a combination there. Like this plant is only an upgrade, this plant is a bit better, it has an upgrade and a modifier, but those are kind of randomized. And then we can start expanding our mind and seeing is there ways to capitalize on that and maybe add possibilities to the gardening to control what kind of. I mean, you can always upgrade plants by improving the rank, but maybe you can decide which kind of plant. There's gonna we need to give the player some kind of control over what types of plants they will be growing once they start the whole gardening endeavor. But yeah, for the beginning, let's just say they're randomly generated, because that would make the most sense if you're not working with the. If you're not interested in the whole gardening aspect. So maybe there are also crops where there aren't any plants planted, and you're like, okay, maybe that's like a teaser for a gardening thing to happen. But you can just collect those and get powers and continue. And then, do I have like a shovel? You're also collecting memory fragments. It's like the loop you introduced to first. You get like to the sanctuary, you have this boss fight. You probably die, you go back to the estuary. Actually, let's also have a plant there. Or in the entry. You die, you interact with the memory fragment system for the skill upgrades. You start a new run. Eventually, that's what I'm imagining. Actually, let's put the tool here. crate or something? Box. Oh, not a coffin. Let's do the toolbox. Yeah, maybe that's the toolbox, and once you do the side quest, you obtain the toolbox, and then you can start gardening. But what does that mean then? What does that mean? You now have the possibility to do gardening. You also have a shop now. Okay. Um, Decisions. Okay, one. Kinda want to put this down. Interacting with plant yield immediate result. Meaning I don't have to go through like a multi-step process to get my power. So I interact with the plant, I get the result. Or I get the seeds. Now the next question is, okay, besides the gardening, I'm going to a plant. I can look at it, I can see what kind of power it gives me. And then the decision is, then the question is, what do I do with it? Hmm. The big question is, what does upgrading a plant do? Okay, assuming let's brainstorm plans. So basically, when picking up a plant, what are things that can happen? Um, Player receives an upgrade. Or player receives an upgrade with modifiers. Or player receives a passive effect. Or player receives time. It could also happen directly. Technically, I mean, so much sense that makes, but could also have coins, money plants. Now, the next thing is how do we combine this into the plants? Maybe now it's time to look at the upgrades again. Do we already have? Because basically what makes sense to have passives are kind of standalone things, and the powers can be upgraded with modifiers. Modifiers would be a great. The intuitive thing would be to have those as like some kind of fertilizer that you can put on the plants to improve. But then we only have like power seeds. I mean, we do have a lot of power seeds. Hello, Ronja, welcome back. How's it going? Good question. feel like we made progress, but also not really. It's a little bit like trying to look into the future and seeing all the possibility, all the possible ramifications that the decisions we make now will have for the whole meta progression. And that's complicated. But how was your trip? Did everything go as planned? With no problems? Ah, nice. It's always good when you can combine trips. I don't know, it makes me feel good if I can combine multiple things. I feel very efficient. Oh no. That's not good. Broken elevator. I'm in the third floor here. So it's nice to use the elevator. But normally when it's not there when I enter, I kinda don't take it. Just go by foot. But yeah, when you have a lot to carry, then elevator is always nice to have. So, okay, the questions we have now. We've decided on a few things. We don't have a concrete plot, we have a few plans scattered around. And now the real question, or where it gets to the whole gardening part, is how does upgrading work and what does it do? And how does planting new plants work? Because the tricky thing now is, especially in the beginning or when you're not especially in the beginning and when you're not participating or like you don't want to deal with the gardening a lot, then we kind of need to have this as straightforward as possible. You go to a plant, you pick it up, you receive the power upgrade, maybe a modifier or a passive effect or an active effect. You get something out of it. The question now is there needs to be a choice. So we can generate the plants procedurally, but then when you approach it, there needs to be a pop-up or like a UI thing with, okay, this is the plant, this run. If you pick it up, you receive this. And then the choice is, do you take it for the upgrade or not? Or what is the alternative? What do you do with it otherwise? Probably if you're not a gardener, you can still take it and then sell it at the shop. Oh damn. That's major. Finding chocolate? That's major achievement. I looked yesterday, I don't have any chocolate left in this household. But I'm too lazy to go out and buy a new one. So my life is pretty hard right now. I only have tea. Okay, what to do with plants? You do not want the upgrade. Questions over questions. Okay. With the modifiers, there are basically two approaches we could take. Have an upgrade or something. Plus. Improve. With the modifier, so the thing is, yeah. Let's put that into decisions. So at the beginning at least, the plans need to be random. So what can be fixated is amount of modifiers technically, but the powers need to be randomized. Then the question is, how do I get modifiers on the powers? Now I see like two ways. One is as fertilizer from the shop. Added to specific plants to give them the modifier. Third problem. I don't know which power is there. The other one would be They're a separate plant. That adds a modifier to an upgrade when picked up. Problem here is now the problem here is you can't really, doesn't work too well with combining plants there. Like this basic crafting thing, because we have separate crops. There's not really a reason or like not an incentive or an intuitive way to combine them into single plants. We would have to think about something extra. Okay, we don't have a question, an answer for that yet. Then other thing, upgrading. One possibility is to spend time to improve rank. Maybe also something we should put down here is, do we have plant lifetime? And I think not. Let's go with this assumption. The plants do not wither. You can only spend time to improve them, but they never or normally don't go bad, so to say. Okay. Now we're here. What do we do now? Got a bunch of cards on the board, a lot of questions and ideas floating around, and me getting tired. You know what it's time for? It's time for coffee. So, or tea, whatever you prefer. Stay hydrated. I mean, coffee is technically getting hydrated, but you know what I mean. I'll get caffeinated, I'll get myself a coffee, and I'll be back in a bit. Yay. Just realized I ran out of milk. So that's not good. But I actually got myself the good expensive coffee with caramel infused. And it just smells really nice. And actually that's a programmer slash designer strategy. If you're stuck, get up, make yourself some coffee, gets your blood running, you stand up, you take a few steps outside, do something else, look at something else, and ideally, maybe you have a new idea that might help you. If not, you still have coffee, so that's a plus. Okay, so let's see, what do we have? We know we have a distribution of gardening plots. Each of these holds a plant by default. Each of these plants gives you an upgrade when you pick them up or when you harvest them or whatever immediately. We know they're random by default, so you can just ignore it, the whole gardening thing, and just go for the upgrades. Hello, good morning, Don Smilo99. It's been a while. Glad you found your way to our cozy co-working stream. Today it's more cozy than working, I guess. A bit of a tired Tuesday morning, doing some design work, but not really progressing a lot. So it's mostly just, I guess, rambling and hoping that something smart comes out of it eventually. But isn't that game development in general? So, where was I? Okay, we have these plants. We can go there. We can collect them. We get like a random upgrade slash random upgrade with modifier or like a direct effect or a passive effect. Okay, so far so good. We progress through it, we die, we can spend stuff in the ashtray in the skill tree, we go back into the run, we encounter the plants again, they yield different things now. And that's like a problem. We need to strike a balance between having the plants be random, or the yield be random enough so it's different with each run, but we still need to have in the long term of through this gardening thing some hooks where we can give the player control over either over like the specific upgrades or the specific powers. Or do we? Do we even need that? I mean, we kinda do. I'm not sure. I'm unsure. There's too many different ideas floating around there. Because if we break it down, what we want to give the player the decision space is in combining, because that's the interesting part of the system, is combining the power upgrades with specific modifiers. And like the decision is, do I upgrade the and that's something we lost, I think, along the way. Because the question really is then upgrading the existing powers that we have or that we collected or harvested in this case. So like the things, that improve certain abilities or attacks. And the other side is combining it with certain modifiers to give certain attacks and abilities, certain modifiers. That's the interesting part of it. That's what we want to keep. The modifiers is easier to integrate. Because you could buy them from the shop, you can get them from a plant, you can use them as fertilizer, whatever. But the other interaction was simpler when we had specific powers at specific plots. Because if it's random, it's not a decision of upgrading. It's, upgrading is always good, but then it's not really deciding on which power you want to invest in. And that worked with the previous setup of having a plot where you first place it and then decide if you want to invest in it further or no. And now we are kind of removing that possibility. So the two options, I need to write more stuff down. But it's hard writing stuff down when there's so much going on in your head. The two options are here to either move this whole upgrading thing to the player, to the UI, so you collect things and then you can still upgrade the collected things. Which works mechanically, but isn't so smooth from like the whole gardening integration. Because upgrading and tending to upgrades and plants works well as a translation from gardening to our mechanical purposes. The alternative is having definitive control over certain plants. Or like knowing which plant gives you which power. Or at least a trigger. I'm not sure that there's something we can do or we want to do. I mean, technically there is a very limited amount of triggers. So the triggers are basically the attach where the attack attaches, the modifier attaches. So, for example, on every light attack or on a specific heavy attack. But then the effect can be very different. So we could do then we need to decide, oh, how do we decide which trigger plant is at which space? I think the core question is, where's the upgrading happening? Is the upgrading happening on a persistent level directly in the location with the plants where you get the powers from? Or is it happening on a run temporary level with the upgrades you already collected? Or a little bit of both? I mean, a little bit of both is always the easy way out. Maybe we need to think this through from another perspective. Um, so what we haven't considered yet. I don't know. This is really tricky. Because my problem here now is, or like what I'm struggling with, is like gardening versus, I don't know what to call it, versus simple. I want to have a gardening system in there, and like the possibilities are on the one side, on the like simple, straightforward getting power, the thing I just want to interact with a plant, I get the power out of it, or I choose not to, and I don't deal with it anymore. And it's kind of randomized, so I have to do different things each run. And on the so it's a small choice, and kind of random, or not random, but like I get something different every run. Mm. And on the gardening side, I kind of want to have long-term decisions, so like investing into the future. And I want to have control over powers, modifiers. We kind of need to strike a balance somewhere in between there. I think what's if you do the trigger fixated, that works for like the meta progression, but it impacts the whole exploration part a lot because then you have specific kind of plants at very specific locations. And you kinda, if you want to follow a certain strategy or have like a certain plan, you always have to go there. Maybe we also need to give the player like control over the placement. Maybe combining plans. There's still too many options. Spin my head right around here. Yeah, that's that's exactly what's happening here right now. yeah, I mean, I would be sorry that this is all very confusing, but it's kind of the premise of the stream. So that's how we work, or not in this case. And that's what's happening in my brain when I'm designing stuff. And yeah, sometimes it's more ordered, depending on the amount of caffeine I had already. But for the most times, it's trying to get everything out of the system onto a board and then seeing patterns. And sometimes it works really well. You're really fast. In this case, not so much. So, but what we want, okay, we have to have something needs to be persistent per plant. Example given, the trigger. Then the plants or the seeds probably should be, how do you call it? Transferable. So you can pick them up and bring them somewhere else and then grow them back to health. And plant seeds probably should be combinable. So that's where the modifiers come into play. So if we have the transferably, you can pick them up and you can combine them together and create new plants. It's kind of the crafting aspect. Let's entertain that thought for a while. You can either harvest the plants for the upgrades, or you can actually rip it out for the seeds and then combine it with something else to create a new plant and then plant it back in. And then you have to grow it back to health until you like actually get crops out of it. Which would work well with the permanent progression of when you're in the later areas and you get new seeds with more powerful effects, you kind of want to combine them in your current crops back home in the garden. Or not, or maybe because it takes time to grow them back, maybe you just want to leave them there because they're pretty good by themselves already. I think maybe let's go for that for now. The question then would be, I dropped my thought. I had a specific question in mind. Move them around and combine them. Oh, the question is, how does combining seeds work? Like, is this something you do directly at the plot? Be easy? Do you need to go to a workshop? Maybe, oh, probably. We can put it in the S tree, so we can give more purpose to the hub location. Have like a little workshop where you can combine the seeds you have in your inventory to create new plants. But then you have to go out and actually plant them in the run locations, which might be weird. Might be weird. I don't know. Indie games are weird, aren't they? So maybe that's a good thing if it's weird. Your package is still in Germany. Okay, yeah, then considering that we're in Vienna, it's probably not coming today. I don't think so too. I mean, Germany is big. Could be anywhere in Germany. But yeah, at least you can take a little bit of a sad crafty noises. And yeah, but do you have to get them from Etsy? Like, especially with like letter beads, I feel like there should be crafting stores in Vienna where you can get those. I know that we, I think I actually, oh, but it's been a while when we got beads. But yeah, they, unless you need very specific special ones, I guess, then Etsy is a good place. I mean, you've left the house already once. There's no harm in doing it the second time. And there was one very specific, I can't remember the name. There was in the inner city. I went there with my girlfriend once to actually get, they have like a lot of very fancy special beads and stuff for this kind of, because she's doing like jewelry, okay, that's not something I can pronounce. She's making stuff for like outfits and fashion, and it's in the inner city. I think somewhere around Schwedenplatz. I can't remember the name. But that was a really nice little shop with a lot of custom fancy beads. Okay. How does combining seeds work? How does growing, tending to plants work? Because if we have like this system of you have to harvest plants, okay, you harvest plants for the fruit and they regrow until the next run. That's fine. But if you rip it out completely, you lose the progress you've already put into them, lose like the rank. You can combine them new and then plant a new seed and start tending to it, I guess. True that, you don't really... Yeah, true, it makes sense. You only need very specific letters. You can actually order them exactly in the distribution you need them. I mean, technically, if that's possible. But now you have a lot of other letters as well, so you could think about doing other words, other phrases. And it doesn't help you for like your marketing, networking purposes, but maybe there's something else you can do. You could actually, if you're doing, if you're planning to use them for like instead of business cards as well, in like for Gamescom or something, you could make ones with like your contact data, like your email address or something. Or make an email address that uses most of the letters you don't use, like for Canvas or Thoughts. And then have that as your contact email. Then you can give people the Canvas or Thoughts ones and the ones with your contact. I don't know, maybe that's weird. I'm full of weird ideas today. But like being a bit crazy and special with your how you approach people at like games conferences can make the difference. I remember, because I got a lot of business cards when I went to Gamescom, and I also handed out a few. Um, but I don't remember most of them. But there was like one girl, a colleague of mine from FA Salzburg actually, and she had like, I think, roses, or like flowers, and like her business card attached to them, and she handed those out. She didn't have a lot of them though, because that was kind of complicated to make and transport. But like that's one thing I absolutely still remember, handing out a flower with the contact details. That's not something you just tuck away or throw away and forget. Oh, tarot cards, yes, that's that's always hot. But also then just friendship bracelets with the like QR codes with the. That's also a good idea. Yeah, but just going like the extra step, being a bit creative with that, I think can go a long way with getting a follow up or like being remembered. A true tarot card, business cards. We just have very standard. Now I'm a bit sad that I just have like default. I mean, it's also good to have those handy, I guess, depending on the crowd. To also have like just normal business cards you can give to people without seeming crazy. But then again, for the game dev crowd, I kinda wish we also had something a little more funny. Well, maybe you should do a brainstorming session for that at some point. Or like you could do a workshop. how to get crafty with your business cards. I mean, but that's a good thing to come out of that. Because other people, if they're bored, I don't know, they play video games or I don't know, just spend time on social media, and you're doing something that's actually really cool and helpful. And something you can do with friends together. It's just a great activity in general. So yeah. Oh, actually, that's also speaking of being bored. I mean, I want to speak. I'm very busy at the moment, but generally speaking, if you're doing creative work or design work, being bored is actually very helpful. Like, it means you have like time off, a time where nothing is happening, and your brain can just wander and do things. So being bored is kind of crucial to getting new ideas and giving your brain enough space to explore things, like in the background tasks, basically. If you're just constantly on edge, it's really hard to be creative. I feel like that's also part of the problem right now. I mean, part of the problem now is that it's just very complicated. But also, I didn't get a lot of downtime in the last few weeks, and it shows on the creative work as well. Yes, new bracelet gang meetup. Maybe you could, I mean, also great to do this in person. Could do like an online co-working, co-crafting call or meetup. But yeah, having a good workshop table is kind of crucial for this kind of endeavor. I mean, for me, I'm fascinated with big tables. Oh, actually, I have the perfect table for you. I'll send it later on the on your Discord. Was once in Thailand at one temple, and they had like, I think, I don't know how they created those. I have like a vague memory. I have to find the photo again, but they had like gigantic wooden tables that were beautiful. Like my thought went perfect board gaming table, but yeah, also would be the perfect crafting table, I guess. Or doing like a really large jigsaw puzzle. Big tables are just cool. Maybe I'm getting old, but I really like. I'm fascinated by practical, nice furniture. Hmm. Okay, now I lost my train of thought, but that's fine. Wasn't like it's not like it was going anywhere. Okay, let's try to reiterate. We have the plants. We can tend to them to improve their potency. Whatever that means. Whatever that means. Probably, well, you have plants with like rank 0 to 5, and you spend time or like fertilizer or other seeds, I don't know, something to improve them over multiple runs, and then you get, yeah, and then you can harvest them. They still are there. You just harvest the fruits, and you receive the upgrade based on what kind of plant you planted there. There's like the thing of how much control you have. You do need you do need some control over what is planted there, but it also still needs to be a little bit random. So I think that's where our next perspective approach comes from, because we need a way to categorize the different plant types or seeds into like things that make sense from a strategy point of view, but still have enough room to like just give you a random seed out of it. I think. I'll just put a note down for that, I guess. Uh, Categorizing seeds, maybe? Cause what this would mean. Okay. Basically, I have my whole plants here, and they are pretty okay-ish. And I always go there. I kinda know what to expect. I can harvest them for the fruit. I get the upgrades, and that's fine. I have a shop. Not sure what the shop does yet, but probably helps me in just improving the plants. But then I manage to get through the gate into the wilderness or the later locations, and I collect new fancy seeds, and they are just better seeds. Or like I encounter plants that are cooler from the effects they give me or from the categories. I guess we have to give them better categories? Not sure. We'll have to see about that. And then the question is, do I leave the plant here? Because it's kind of far away, and and but it's already growing there, and I can just pick it up for the upgrades and be on my way, and try to tend to it to have like a cool upgrade later on. But I think what probably people would be doing, or like at least people who want to interact with the gardening system, uh, is ripping the plant out for its roots and the seeds, then dying at some point, going back to the ash tree, doing some crafting, combining the seeds together to create like some kind of new mutant plant. I feel like for everyone who's like just joining and expecting that we're still working on a roguelike adventure game, but we're also exploring possibilities to make it into a farming sim sneakily without people noticing. Without my game design team noticing before. Basically, we want to have this prototype ready before they can do anything about it. But you put the seeds together to create like some kind of mutant plant. You go back into the garden. You have to find the plot that's empty, or like you have these plants that aren't too potent from the earlier stages. You remove it and you plant your new cool mutant plant that you collected from the wilderness, and then you have to start tending to it with multiple runs. So we probably have like some kind of grinding loop here where you go to the shop for fertilizer and stuff, I don't know, to improve the plant and gradually move forward. But then what's about the space you left open there? You still need to plant something there. I think what you want to do in the long run, just a vision or like an assumption, probably getting a bunch of cool seeds in the early stages, in the early garden areas, to have like cool upgrades you can harvest, and then try to get passive and like active effects later on that just give you time when you already have your build. Maybe that's a bit far-fetched. I can't really think so far ahead. You currently have 96 bracelets and gave out 14. Well, 96 is a lot. How much time does it actually take to make one of those bracelets? Oh, for anyone you're wondering what we're talking about. Ronja is working on a game project. It's called Canvas of Thoughts. And oh, she's handing out custom bracelets for it instead of business cards. Which is, I think, an ingenious marketing strategy. And a cool. So if you need tips or tricks on how to impress game devs with handcrafted goods, go to Ronja. Three to 5 minutes for one bracelet. So that's, let's say 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, spent like a work day, basically. Spent like a work day on those. Hello, Eric. Eric. I just call you Eric. You people with your fancy usernames. But yes, it's actually a very cute idea and very effective. So okay, maybe that's the target loop we want to go for a bit there. That should be back. No, 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 it's not your internet, it's my internet. Hello, hello. Yes, no, that's on my end. Still have to figure out the issue there. But most of the times it's fine. Sometimes it's just gone. A server, all our meetings are a bit weird now. People constantly dropping out. But yes. No other one saying with the usernames. That's funny. A funny thing on Steam is there's like a difference between your display name, I think, that you can change, but like the registered username you can't. And now with the Steamworks partner account, like when I give the team members access to our internal testing build, in my list I actually see their registered usernames. And for most people, they like, I don't know, they started Steam when they were like 12 or 13 or 14, and it shows in the usernames. And it's always kind of funny to see what 14-year-old version of your colleague chose as a chose as a username. There are some gems in there. I mean, considering how many people are coming to the game, nice touch to have. Like, I mean, it's already really nice that they're handmade and everything, but that like every single one is kind of unique. That's gives it a really nice personal touch. Alright, so scenario. I feel like we were going somewhere with this train of thought. Yes. Let's go through this again from the beginning. You starting in the S3 or starting somewhere in the run. Oh, and you should give out your bracelets. Oh, you will be presenting next time, right? I think you'll be mentioning them for sure. And then it's like with the other people giving out stickers or stuff, so people can maybe just get them afterwards. Or I guess during like the break networking thing, people will not the one after. I mean, that's also you only get a bracelet presentation and get a bracelet. So it's like 2 in 1. In May, so not in pre. Okay, that's actually great because I think I can't make it to the next one in April, but May I'll try to be there. Well, we are now expecting bracelets. Should be part of the announcement from Michi. There will be bracelets. All right. So, few problems with the. Let's try finding answers to the questions we had previously and see if we can answer everything while going through the paper prototype. Yes, exactly. Actually, you're not making yeah, you're making the game for the bracelets. It's like when a big company is doing like a sponsored game. A Canvas of Thoughts, the game based on the popular bracelets. Okay. Now, okay, you start a run. You can't do gardening yet, so you can't remove plants because you don't have the toolbox. But you can get the plants, the basic plants that are already planted there. They have. Now it's already starting. What is the things they are fixated for the plants? The trigger. If it's a power seed, the trigger needs to be. We also have a problem with what if a plant is only modifiers? I mean, there are already a lot of BFE students coming to the Gamedev meetups, aren't they? Hello, Allegra. I mean, now you're probably also getting rated by Spengergasse students. Okay, let's do the questions here. What about modify our plans? Or just modifiers and no trigger. Okay. Modifiers are part of plants as seeds. I think just in case you shouldn't be taking all of your bracelets to the Gamedev meetup, so you still have a backup for the next time or when you need them. Oh, what to do with plants when you do not want the upgrade? Okay, that's the question we haven't answered yet. I mean, ideally, you're building your plants in a way that you always want them, because that's kinda the goal. Oh no. Oh no, I don't think it's your Twitch. I think it's my internet. So sorry about that. But I do believe it's the internet connection. Again. Yeah. Hello, hello. I hope I am back again. Because I mean, I do be used to talking to the void, but I already got kinda used to you guys being there. So yeah. Anyways, thanks everyone, by the way, for for being here and sticking with me throughout this uh, very chaotic process. Oh, everyone expecting deliveries today. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Um, okay, week is exciting. Yeah, I'll try to catch your next. If you're doing a cosplay workshopping stream again, I'll try to catch it. It's just hard for me to plan because they're happening very spontaneously. And then I might be. I mean, actually, it would be fine if I'm in the train. If I'm catching your stream while I'm in the train, that would be perfect. My birthday. Uh, do I want to tell you guys? I'm not a big birthday person, really. I don't like the attention on that day. Because in my perspective, like birthday, I mean, sure, it's great and it's important, but like on that day, like 24 years ago, I didn't really do a lot on that day. My mom kind of did all the work. So I feel like she she needs to get the attention. She did all the work. I just existed and probably screamed a lot. I mean that's like I mean that would be a great service to get like a personal notification for your streams. So I won't say no to that. So yeah. Ah, I still have coffee left. Nice. Still got my Christmas mug out. Okay, so we still don't know what to do with the plants you do not want to upgrade. I mean, okay, that's actually a good point. Because right now you're harvesting them. You're harvesting and normally you receive the upgrade immediately. Maybe we can give an option to, I don't know, convert them to some kind of other resource that you can then use for coins or fertilizer. Let's go with fertilizer. Because then we could have specific seeds or plants that are just good at providing soil for the other plants. I'm really getting into this whole gardening thing. But like, I have to, eventually we have to get back down and realize we're still making an adventure action game. It's not all about the gardening. But as long as I'm in charge of this part of the game, some gardening is going to happen. Yes, please. If it's nothing to you, I would appreciate receiving a notification. Okay, then what else? How do you upgrade a plant? Spending literally time or spending fertilizer. Let's introduce this as a new resource you can get from the shop or from other plants. Nice. Proper co-working stream then. Actual game dev co-working stream. Working on your game. Oh, is that the wizard game when you sent me the concept? Because I'm really intrigued by this concept. Oh no. Doing UV is every artist, 3D artist favorite part, right? It's either UVs or rigging, I think. Most fun tasks. But yeah, I guess it can't all be. It can't be fun at all times. Need the contrast as well. Like a balanced diet. Kinda need to do everything a little bit. Otherwise the funny things get boring as well. I've got mixed feeling about this comment. The UVs are weird enough to be interesting. I mean, I guess it's good if you can get something out of it, but normally that sounds like a bad thing. But I actually do kinda get it. With coding, it's also like the weird problems are always exciting to work on, actually. Coming up with new solutions. Okay, what does upgrading a plant do? Probably improves rank, which improves improves the effects of like everything that's in the plant. Way to plant new plants? Yes. Like get seeds from removing plants, combine them, replant them. There are different categories of plants. Ah, that's what we were searching for. The word is category. Categories. Painting through UVs. Okay, that sounds like black dark magic. Okay, we had a few more questions there. How does combining seeds work? Let's do a workshop in the S3 for now. How does growing tending to plants work? Well, we answered that up here. Upgrading, yeah. equals upgrading plants. Categorizing seeds maybe. Yes. But how? That's, I think, the crucial part of this prototype scenario is how are we categorizing the seeds? A word to describe your dislike against programming. I think you're not alone in this. Programming can be a beautiful, terrifying thing. It really is like a love-hate relationship at all times. Okay, categories. What are our options there? Let's see. So the obvious thing to do would be categorizing with the chrono ability. But that doesn't really help, because the trigger is always known. The rank might be random. So with the category, we want to have an idea about what the rank effect will be for the power seeds. So let's do some notes and investigate. Category options. So for the powers, category hints at rank effect. Now let's collect. What kind of rank effects do we have? We have a basic increased damage kind of thing. We have like debuffing enemies kind of thing. We have a chrono damage kind of thing. That is also damage. Ticking damage. Maybe that's also damage. Range. Maybe we need some kind of strategy. Misc. That's very specific. That's again damage. Good point, Milo. Everyone, stay hydrated. Stretch now and then. I still have water. Actually, tried doing yoga like daily, but it's not really happening anymore. But maybe I'll do my yoga session after the stream. Maybe. Because that's one thing I noticed, especially in the last few weeks where I've been sitting a lot in this very chair. Like, yoga, like 15 minutes or 30 minutes of yoga every 2 days, really does wonders to my back and general well-being. And the time commitment isn't too much, it's just getting myself to actually do it. And also the money investment isn't too high. Because like going boulder, climbing, you have to drive there, you have to pay for entry, you have to pay for the shoes. Not sustainable without income, or without proper income. Yes, Pilates. True that. My mom did Zumba, like the dancing, for some time, and she's really really doing well with her health and her body. So yeah, listen to your moms, people. They know their stuff. All right. Oh, pulling. That's like a position. I'm not sure if we need that, but there's like a positioning effect, or like not positioning, but crowd control. Let's call it that. That's how the cool kids call it, right? Corner damage. Alright, then maybe that was a smart decision. You have enough to do 100 more bracelets. I feel like that should be enough for at least a few months then. But it feels like it's becoming an addiction, you know? Can't ever be enough bracelets. You just have to keep making them. Gonna have to make a great game that makes money so you can fund your bracelet crafting addiction. Where do I get my music from? Nothing too special really. It's just a chill hop, lofi hip hop live stream. Because it's royalty free. I can post it on. I can stream. I can stream it, and we can post it on YouTube without issues or claims. I hope. At least that's how I understood it. True, actually. Listening to a stream during the stream. Alright, okay, we have like some categories for the possible categories for the rank, for the power ranks. Now, with the modifiers, let's see if we find similar things. I see. Seems like we have similar taste then. Yeah, that's a good point. That's like my one remark about this music is it's very chill, but almost too chill. Especially for like a Tuesday morning. Maybe I should start searching for something more upbeat. But I don't know, so if anyone has recommendation for like streamable music that doesn't make us all fall asleep, we can try that at some point. But relaxed movement also sounds like they do like relaxing music. It could be worth checking out, yeah. Thanks for the tip. Mm. Yeah, I think that's doable. Giving credit. Credit where credit is due, as they say. Okay, I feel like we're seeing some synergies. Increased damage, chrono damage. We have like agility, or like gaining movement speed. Sure, if we slowing enemies, I think we could count to crowd control. Debuffing enemies. Maybe debuffing and crowd control can go together. Also with stagger. But let's do like two things and then think about. Stream elements. For which advice is the current music? I mean, generally speaking, you have a more professional streaming setup than we do here. Maybe you can teach me a few things at some point. I can improve our setup. So damage increase. And also increases damage. Sundering enemies is debuffing. Yay! Just gotta. Do you also see the restream notification? That tells me that we've reached 100 messages today. Or like in this stream, I guess. Whoop whoop. Achievement unlocked. Yes, let's do a stream Twitch setup workshop at some point. Got a lot to do already. Like we need to do a bracelet workshop, co-working. We need to do a Twitch. We need to do a Twitch workshop. A lot of projects there. At some point, I also want to do a board game design stream/workshop. Maybe I can get that in at some point as well. Because we're also working on board games here on the side. And a fun stream as well when we playtest a board game. Yeah, yeah, let's celebrate. I mean, that's on you. You did this. You achieved this. being being active. So thank you again. Thank you everyone for being here. It's really nice. And together, kinda. being game developers and stuff. It's always interesting to see what's happening out there and what everyone's working on. Like sharing some progress. So for me, also the stream for me is mostly no. Alright. Now, I think we have similar categories with the modifiers here. Burning also is like a damage debuff. That increases damage. Good. Those are just very special. Hello, hello everyone. Hello again. That's like chrono for chrono damage. Doesn't necessarily have to meet damage though. The question now is if the categories are actually enough control. Because right now, a very interesting interaction is putting specific modifiers on specific triggers. So I'm afraid that the categories aren't. Or maybe they are. Because increasing damage, it's always doing like a similar thing. And like normally I want to put something on a trigger that's like debuffing enemies. And I know what it's doing with crowd control as well. So maybe that is, I guess we just have to try it and see if it's what it does. That's also damage. Oh wait, we're not with the modifiers anymore. But yeah, it's basically the same, right? Increased damage, we have debuffs, we have chrono. We do have agility. We can put agility in there as well. Risk strategy. Yeah, that's a question if we have something like that as well, like a general. And if crowd control and debuffing is the same. But it feels like we could, work with those effects. Okay, then let's, I guess, move this to our workspace here with the other nodes. Alright. Technically, we should have a pretty good framework now. Good is relative. We should have a framework now that's prototypable, so to say. Meaning... Okay, if we go through it again, I would have to I need to write this down properly at some point. So, we're starting a run. We're getting to a plant. We can look at the plant. We know, or like, when we're here, we definitely see like a pop-up with the specific power and modifier this plant has. And we can like, okay, we take it or we leave it. And like that's the thing that still needs some iteration is what do we get out if we don't want it? Maybe we can still use parts of the plant, like if we just want the modifier. I don't know. Anyways, you can just get it for fertilizer. You go to the other plant, you can use your time or your fertilizer to actually to put that into the plant to make it grow and improve it. And you can harvest it for the fruit to get like some kind of upgrade depending on what is planted there. So far so good. Then we're moving forward. There's not really an incentive at first to remove seed or to. I think that's gonna be a hard thing to explain. Get players to because there's like the loop there is if you can only splice together plants in the estuary, the loop is pretty. There's a long loop or delay between removing a plant, crafting a new one, and having it be in the plot. So maybe that should be more straightforward, like happening directly at the plant. Oh, you want to take a sneak peek at some progress sharing? Because our game designer just put something in. But I'm not entirely sure what. Experiment with animation to better indicate when damage gets blocked and when not. Oh, I think there's like a recoil animation. No. And the audio as well, which is helpful. I think that makes sense. Does that make sense? What do you think? Oh, like maybe for a bit of context, it's like experimenting with a chronolog there. So like a barrier that you can only damage with reverted attacks. So basically when you hit it with normal attacks, it just blocks it and recoils. I think it works. Oh, and maybe also something we had yesterday. Just showing you. I'm not procrastinating. We have these new chronologs. Like this fan that damages you. You can't go through it. But you can freeze it and then you can pass through it. Yeah, so that's like the chronologs. We're calling them chronologs. So we can block off parts of the locations until you have this specific corner ability, kind of like in a Metroidvania. So we can block off exploration parts, and you, especially because it's also roguelike, you have to pass through the locations again later on with a new ability, and then your possibilities for exploration expand. Like this one was about the chronologs from yesterday, and the recoil one, this one is, yeah, like for, there's like a little recoil animation, I think, when damage, or like the damage doesn't get through. I think. So yeah, that's the progress from the game design department right now. Alright. So I think more questions or remarks. Let's give them another color. How do we introduce, incentivize, removing, replanting seeds? That's maybe gonna be an issue. I mean, I guess we can do, probably the way to go would be to provide the player with just with seeds in general. And then a few empty plots, so you actually have to interact with it. You have seeds and you have empty plots, and you can put them in there and see, okay, that's what this is doing. And we can have like very basic seeds that just improve. Then maybe a cap on the maximum amount of seeds, probably like 3 or 4. Could be more obvious. Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm not sure how important it is. I think the things to balance here is to still keep combat and everything smooth and flowy, but you actually notice as a player when things don't happen. I have an assumption that you feel it when playing, because you kinda, it interrupts your flow. But yeah, just from looking at it, it isn't really that noticeable. But yeah, we'll be testing it probably next week when it's on the nightly build. Seeds for free and having empty plots. I think with the current setup also we have like, we're following this one crazy idea, like not so crazy anymore idea, but having a fixated amount of seeds. Or not really, because they have different categories. Oh, but if we want to have cooler, We can actually combine two things with the categories. We can have them have like a vertical category. Whoop, where are we? Here. Like this. But also... Oh no. In addition to the category... Alright, okay. And we also need... Probably... We also need to somehow communicate that. Alright, alright. To have like more rare modifiers later on. Not sure if that's possible so easily. Yeah, but I think we made a lot of progress. We have something like a... Yes, it's a good point, Ronja. I feel like it's a good call to call it morning, I guess. Not today. Today's not over. But go for a lunch break now. Guess that's enough for one very productive. It was more productive than I thought it would be, because it started really slow, but we made a lot of progress. So yeah, I'll also be off searching for food. Maybe I'll find some chocolate as well. That would be great. But proper food. Everyone have a nice remaining rest of it.